The year's 2014. The world has evolved from slavery and also from segregation. Not everyone has let go of the past. Most people still think of the world as it was back in the 1940s, when we were separated by the color of our skin, when black and white weren't just ordinary colors. They were also our identities. Everyone was separated from some sort of public interaction that we had from each other, including bathrooms, drinking fountains, waiting rooms, restaurants, buses, trains, but most importantly, from schools. All of this was going to change in the 1950s. Brown versus the Board of Education is the name of 5 different cases that came before the Supreme Court in 1952. This law brought the law of Plessy versus Ferguson, which was meant to be separate but equal, which really wasn't, to an end. Oliver Brown filed a lawsuit against the Topeka, Kansas school board for not being an integrated school. Brown's daughter had to wake up very early and walk 6 blocks to get to her nearest bus stop that took her to her school with all the other black kids. The Supreme Court heard this case twice in 1953, once in the spring and once in the fall. They were trying to figure out if the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause was being broken, with separate schools for blacks and for whites. On May 17, 1954, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the law of separate but equal was not constitutional, and that the schools would have to start to integrate. Of course, this all wouldn't have happened without the good help of Thurgood Marshall. Marshall was a lawyer that was best known for his successful arguing and the Supreme Court for the victory of the Brown versus Board of Education that took place on May 17, 1954. He later became known as an Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court. Before that, he was always there with the Little Rock Nine and the NAACP. He would have meetings with the kids and their parents to see how they were holding up with all this integration. He would always find a way to see that the kids were always focusing on their studies and that they were never giving up on their hope. If it wasn't for what Thurgood Marshall had done for us, today we wouldn't be sitting next to the same people we would be sitting next to today. We would be separated in both schools and in public areas. On the prize, hold on, hold on, hold on, keep your eyes on the prize. The Little Rock Nine were 9 brave African American students who wanted to become the first kids to integrate Central High School, a white high school in Little Rock, Arkansas. From left to right, we have Thelma Mothershed, Elizabeth Eckford, Gloria Ray, Jefferson Thomas, Melba Patillo Beals, Ernest Green, Carlotta Walls, Minnie Jean Brown, and Terrence Roberts. They were all very much alike, with their religious personalities, 8th grade students, and had parents that were really strict. They were all forced to maintain good grades and to have appropriate behavior in wherever they were, whether it was school, at home, or in public. These 9 kids became very close best friends with the whole integration. They were always doing stuff together, whether it was doing work for school or hanging out. They became a family and trusted each other very much, as if they were all siblings. They were all there for each other whenever they needed help, or when they were going through something rough. When Minnie Jean Brown got expelled from school for getting into an altercation with a few white students, Her friends were there to support her. Of course, it wasn't during school, but it was after, to show them that they were there for her and that they would always be there for her. The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or referred to as the NAACP, is an African American civil rights organization that was founded in 1909. In 1956, the NAACP helped the Little Rock Nine integrate Central High School. The NAACP usually helped protest to show that the Jim Crow laws were completely stupid. Daisy Bates was involved in the NAACP when she moved to Little Rock, Arkansas. She focused on education after the Brown v. Board of Education was passed. Daisy Bates, just like Thurgood Marshall, became the kids' biggest supporter. She was always there with them when they had late-night tutoring sessions and when they were on interviews. Eyes on the prize, hold on, hold on. Elizabeth Eckford can be considered the face of bravery by how she stood tall when she was faced with the mob yelling cruel things at her. She did not get the midnight call of where she was supposed to meet with the other 8 students and the NAACP on the first day they were intended to integrate Central High School. Instead, she walked alone and met a mob. She was also denied by the National Guard from entering the school. They were there to protect the white students instead of the black students. Elizabeth was then helped by a kind white woman by the name of Grace Lorch, and she assisted her home safely. Wouldn't take nothing from my journey now. Keep your eyes on the prize. Melva has written a memoir about the Little Rock Nine's first year at Central High. Fields graduated from San Francisco State University in journalism and has 3 kids and still lives in the California area. Carlota attended Michigan State University for 2 years. She then graduated from the University of Northern Colorado in 1968. Carlota is married and she has 2 kids. Elizabeth attended Knox College in Illinois, Chicago after graduating Central High. She is a veteran of the U.S. Army. She lives in Little Rock, Arkansas, and is a probation officer. Ernest was the first African American to graduate Central High. He attended Michigan State University and lives in Washington, D.C. with his wife, and they also have 3 kids. Gloria moved to Kansas City, Missouri, and graduated high school there. She attended Illinois Institute of Technology in Chicago. She and her family, husband, and their 2 kids now live in Europe. Jefferson attended Wayne State University in Detroit after graduating from Central High. Jefferson got married in 1965 and has 1 child. On September 5, 2010, Jefferson passed away. Minnie Jean got kicked out of Central High and had to finish school in New Lincoln School in 1959. Minnie Jean pursued a career developing youth leadership. She lives in Little Rock, Arkansas, and is the mother of 6 children. Terrence moved to Los Angeles and graduated high school there in 1959. He is the CEO of Terrence J. Roberts and Associations. He lives in California with his wife, and they have 2 kids together. Thelma attended Southern Illinois University in Carbondale in 1964. Thelma currently lives in Little Rock, Arkansas, as a widow with 1 son and 2 grandchildren.